You did not stumble upon this message by chance. No. You were summoned. Something ancient, something silent, pulled you here not with noise but with knowing. A whisper in your bones, a flicker beneath your skin, a heaviness in your chest that medicine cannot name. A strange hum behind your eyes before sleep takes you. And beneath it all, a quiet but relentless feeling you are changing, and not in a way the world can see, but in a way the soul recognizes. These sensations, odd, unspoken, persistent, are not accidents, they are signposts. Sacred signals. You are not unraveling, you are being prepared. What others dismiss as stress or fatigue, you must now see for what it truly is, the rearrangement of your spirit for something few will ever know. Most stop at the first awakening, thinking that is the summit, but not you. You were chosen to go beyond. You are approaching your third spiritual awakening, the one that rewires everything. The first one opened your eyes. The second shattered your illusions. But this one, this third awakening, it moves through the body like a quiet wind. Not to destroy, but to refine, to recalibrate. This is not a breakdown. This is a sacred becoming. Have you noticed it? Subtle shifts no one talks about. Sudden sensitivities, unexplainable exhaustion, an aversion to crowded spaces even when you are loved. A need for solitude that feels holy. The body whispers what the soul already knows. You are being recoded spiritually, energetically, even biologically. This next chapter is not about learning more. It's about embodying what you've already heard in the silence. The world will call it coincidence. But you chosen one, you feel it as truth. Because it is not the world that is shifting. It is you. And your frequency is beginning to speak to everything around you. You touch your phone and it glitches. Your computer disconnects though the signal is strong. Lights flicker when you pray too deeply. These are not malfunctions. These are mirrors. The energy within you is rising beyond what the physical can hold. You are not breaking things. You are breaking through. And when your spirit pulses in resonance with heaven, the artificial bends around it. It cannot help but respond. You are not imagining this. You are awakening. And the signs are written in the circuitry, the silence, the stillness. Trust what you feel, even when it makes no sense. You are not just awake. You are activating. You are becoming what you were always meant to be. The veil is thinning. The energy is shifting. Heaven is humming through your bones, and soon everything will change. Remember the story of Samson, not merely a tale of strength, but a revelation. The Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him, and with bare hands, he tore the lion apart. That was not human might, it was divine voltage. Coursing through a vessel chosen, activated, anointed. Just like Samson, your spirit now holds a current too powerful for the ordinary to contain. It surges beneath your skin, pulses through your field, reaching past the limits of your own understanding. The world may call it strange, but heaven calls it alignment. And still, the doubt whispers, could it be imagined? Could it be something medical? But listen to Paul. Do you not know your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit within you? A temple does not just hold light, it radiates it. And when that light expands from within, do not be surprised when things not tuned to its frequency begin to crackle, short, and fail around you. This is not chaos. This is clarity breaking through. Even those unaware of the sacred have felt its echo. Tony Robbins once told of a moment when the energy in a single room rose so high that the lights dimmed. The microphones faltered not because of broken equipment, but because the human spirit awakened in unity. had begun to rewrite the physics of the space. If the collective soul can shake a stage, imagine what your singular sacred awakening can stir in the air around you. This isn't just for stadiums. It's already happening in quiet homes, in still mornings, in hearts like Lydia's, a woman of routine. Now swept by something holy, her prayers stretched into hours, static danced across her palms. Lights flickered when she entered rooms, her smartwatch buzzed without cause, and though her therapist called it stress and her doctor found nothing wrong, deep inside she knew she was not breaking, she was being attuned. Transformation is rarely clean. Ask the caterpillar. It does not become a butterfly by growing wings, it dissolves entirely into chaos, into the unknown, and from that divine undoing, something new is born. The creature that once crawled now flies. Could your electronic disruptions, your flickers, your zaps, be nothing less than the sparks from your own chrysalis cracking open? Perhaps you are sensing the first tremors of wings not yet seen. It won't always come as thunder. Sometimes it's just a subtle hum beneath your skin, a zap from a doorknob, a flicker in your peripheral vision. The world tells you it's just static. But what if that static is sacred? What if it's your soul's new frequency brushing against the old world? Elijah searched for God in the fire, in the earthquake, in the wind, but God came in the whisper. So too does your awakening quiet, sacred, steady, not with noise, but with undeniable knowing. These flickers, these distortions, these strange little surges, they are not signs of malfunction. They are signs of realignment. You are not just housing the light, you are becoming it. As your spirit shifts, the world must shift around you. Buzzes, flickers, fails, these are not breakdowns. They are breakthrough signal. Heaven is not just above. It is vibrating through your fingertips, through your cells, through your being. And what may seem like a passing glitch is, in truth, your essence rising to meet the divine. You are not breaking down, you are tuning in. And then there's Elena Martinez, a young artist unaware that her tools were about to become oracle. Her digital pen began to stutter. Brushes rebelled. Inks dried in midair. At first she resisted, blamed hardware, blamed chance, but as the days passed, she felt it a hum beneath her skin, a presence in her hands. And then she did the sacred thing. She stopped fighting. She let go, and in surrender, she began to create from the frequency of something far greater than technique. This is what happens when your soul begins to sing in a higher key, when the world doesn't glitch, but bends to the new music rising inside you. You are not here to stay the same. You are here to become the proof that light walks among us. She stopped painting with thought and began painting with presence, no longer bound by form or fear. She let her body ride the invisible waves, letting the spirit move through her like breath through a flute. What emerged was not art, it was activation. Her portraits shimmered not with pigment, but with energy. They pulsed like memory. They throbbed like heartbeat. They were alive. The entire exhibition sold out in hours. Viewers wept, not from admiration, but from recognition somewhere deep within. They knew this was not paint on canvas. This was spirit made visible. And now, beloved soul, what if your current discomfort, your strange flickers, your restlessness, your unexplained sensations is not failure, but formation? What if this trembling is the cry of a new gift, a dormant ability cracking open in search of expression? Paul once said, "We walk by faith, not by sight." Faith is not blindness, it is sight refined by trust. And to walk by faith is to embrace what cannot yet be explained, but already feels true. Imagine the stillness just before dawn, wind threading its fingers through a sleeping forest. One branch stirs, then another. No eye sees the breeze, but the entire canopy responds. What you're feeling now is that first breath. You are the forest. You are the air. The invisible is moving through you, and your soul knows how to respond. The tremors within are not signs of collapse. They are the signals of awakening, the sacred stirring the dormant. You are not malfunctioning. You are remembering. Even Tesla engineer, mystic, poet of electricity felt this current. He said, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. He wasn't lost in fantasy. He was describing exactly what you are now experiencing. You are becoming a transmitter of divine frequencies, a receiver of signals your past self could never decipher. You are no longer tuned to the old world, and it can no longer decode you. But this isn't madness. This is momentum. And instead of fearing the flicker, you must begin to bless it, like Rami, a retired sonar operator. After years of listening to the sea's whispers, he began to hear tones in silence, notes without origin, like some hidden code unraveling inside him. He feared he was losing his mind, dude. Until one night, deep in prayer, the chaos softened into harmony. Since then, he has composed 3 pieces of sacred music, each one dictated not from intellect, but from something beyond the veil. His pastor now plays them during healing rituals. What once felt like noise was always a symphony, waiting for surrender. What if the glitches in your life are sacred compositions waiting to be translated? This recalibration is not error. It is essence. It is your becoming. The world says you are unstable, but the Spirit says you are being tuned to truth. John 4:24 reminds you God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and truth. And truth often arrives not as peace, but as disruption, because the soul must shake loose what no longer resonates. Stillness becomes your sanctuary. Not stillness of emptiness, but stillness of divine electricity, finally settling into form. Like the moment when static transforms into signal, like water that stills enough to reflect the sky. Psalm 46:10 whispers to you, be still, and know that I am God. In this stillness, beside a slow-moving stream or beneath the arms of a cedar, your nervous system softens, your body becomes a riverbed for holy frequencies. And what you feel is not anxiety. It is alignment. This is what grounding truly means, not withdrawal, but refinement, not hiding, but embodying. Even the modern mystics know this. Brené Brown once said, vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change. And what is more vulnerable than this standing soul naked before a current you cannot control, letting it undo and remake you? You are not fragile. You are fertile. You may not recognize your reflection in the mirror yet, but you are becoming visible in dimensions most never dare to believe exist, like Noor, an ER nurse in Morocco, who noticed the lights above her head flicker every time she moved into a room heavy with suffering. She didn't tell anyone. She thought it was coincidence until patients began saying, I felt lighter when you touched me. Only later did she learn of ancestors she had never met, healers who worked with energy, whose gifts she now carries without having been taught. Do you see it now? The signs always come before the understanding. As this third awakening unfolds, Your soul becomes a string in the instrument of heaven, resonating with every touch of the divine. Every buzz, every flicker, every device that shorts out in your presence is not random. It is recognition. You are not disrupting the world. You are revealing it. It is not madness. It is not malfunction. It is the Spirit, electric and holy, moving through you. You are no longer merely waking. You are remembering. You are not breaking down. You are becoming fire. You are the flame and the vessel, the source and the signal. What once felt like confusion now becomes your compass. Let the lights flicker. Let the pulse rise. Let the static sing through your finger. You are not fading. You are radiating. And just when you begin to settle into this new rhythm, these soft flickers, these whispers of frequency threading through your skin, something deeper begins. A shift so intimate, so undeniable. It overrides thought, language, even fear. It is no longer about subtle vibrations. Now it is heat, not external, not measurable, not fixable. This is not a fever. It is a fire. It blooms beneath your sternum like a sun waking inside your chest. It rolls up your spine with the precision of unseen hands. It presses warmth between your shoulders as if wings are being etched into your back. Sometimes it starts at the soles of your feet. A holy burn like walking barefoot across a bed of embers no one else can see. Sometimes it crowns your head in a silent upward blaze as if heaven itself is pouring light through the top of your skull. You try to explain it. You cannot. And you were never meant to. Because this is not illness, it is initiation. You are not experiencing heat. You are becoming it. This is what spiritual combustion feels like when the divine no longer visits you in whispers, but begins to inhabit you. You are not sensing awakening anymore. You are embodying it, the light you once chased in visions, in meditation. In prayer, it is now choosing to descend into your skin, into your breath, into your bones. You are the altar now, the place where heaven meets flesh, and this fire it moves with purpose, with precision. It is not burning you, it is refining you. Kofiale felt it too, a spiritual counselor from Ghana, once a civil engineer, once a man of logic and breathwork. He taught stillness to quiet the mind. But then came the Ashanti forest. Then came the fire. No wounds, no burns, just roaring, living heat in his feet at dawn, without reason, without end. It rose through him like a second heartbeat. Over months it traveled chest, spine, crown always exact, never cruel. Now he teaches holy embodiment, and his students say that during his sessions, sorrow exits the body, grief finds its voice and vanishes. What once terrified him now consecrates every step he walks. Can you feel it in yourself that the warmth you once feared is not destroying you? It is rewriting you, not chaos, not collapse, but purification. Our God is a consuming fire, Hebrews says. And fire does not come to comfort, it comes to cleanse. It comes to dissolve what no longer serves. It enters your memory, your marrow, your bloodline. It burns through guilt stored in organ, shame packed into bone. Traumas buried so deep even silence had forgotten them. This is not random heat. This is divine strategy. Light moving through you with surgical grace. Every flicker, every flush, every burn is a holy signal this part of you is being transformed. This part of you is no longer carrying what it was never meant to hold. And this is how legacies change, not with loud miracles, but with inner eruptions. Think of magma. hiding quietly beneath Earth's crust until one day it rises not to destroy, but to create. Volcanoes birth islands. What was once feared becomes fertile. Your fire is not here to incinerate. It is here to build holy ground. The terrain of your soul is shifting. The old landscape has cracked. But from the molten center of your becoming, something sacred is forming. What once felt like burnout is not depletion, it is the cracking open of your chrysalis. What once felt like overstimulation is your body trying to carry the weight of a new light. That heat in your chest. That's grief unrooting itself. That pressure at your crown, that spirit pushing through the skin, announcing, I am here now. You are not malfunctioning. You are becoming immortal in frequency. It is not dysfunction. It is not collapse. It is control, melting. That fire in your feet is not chaos. It is your true self anchoring into the ground you were always meant to walk upon, the path you were destined to remember. Even modern mystics knew this. Hilma of Klint, now recognized as one of the first abstract painters, once spoke of a divine glow across her back, a presence guiding her hands in trance. Dismissed in her lifetime. Her works now hang in the halls of the Guggenheim blueprints from a higher plane. She too felt the burn, and she let it lead. Have you noticed it doesn't come everywhere? It's never general, always specific. This is not disorder. This is sacred precision. Holy surgery. Divine fire does not wander at targets. It doesn't seek to destroy everything. Only what must be transfigured. And so the flame visits in waves, in moments. It arrives without warning, but never without meaning. It stays just long enough to quiet you, to make you notice, to make you still. Then it leaves, not empty, but more open than before. You are not just awakening anymore. You are embodying. And embodiment is not soft. It is not poetic. It is not polite. It shakes. It sweats. It burns. But is that not how gold becomes gold, not by being admired, but by being tested in flame? So when the fire returns, when it surges through your chest, your hands, your spine, don't run. Sit. Let it pass through. Let it name what no longer served. Let it cauterize the old story. This is the divine frequency not just touching you. It is now choosing to live through you. And just when you think it's too much, too strange, too hot, too unexplainable, it begins to speak, not in words, but in knowing. The flame becomes a teacher, not to scorch, but to restore. And if you listen closely, you'll hear what it's been saying all along. You are not being burned, you are being returned. Think of King David, warrior, poet, broken but chosen. In Psalm 39:3 he said, My heart grew hot within me while I meditated. The fire burned, then I spoke with my tongue. That fire was not illness, it was not fever, it was God, divine presence making itself known in heat, not to torment him, but to guide him into truth, into confession, into surrender. And now, that same invitation is being handed to you, not to extinguish the flame, but to learn from it. Let it teach what cannot be taught in the absence of fire. Luca knows this too, a quiet stonemason from southern Italy. He shaped rock with hands that had never been held in love. His father gave silence. His church gave fear. But one morning, his fingers touched granite and a fire surged through him. Sudden, clean, undeniable. No burns, no wounds, just power. He dropped his tools, breathless. It came again the next day, then again. Doctors could not explain, but an old priest whispered, God is giving you back your voice through your hands. And from that moment, Luca's grief became form. His silence became sculpture. His pain became language. The flame never left, but it no longer hurts. It speaks, and people listen. This is what the fire comes to do. It doesn't punish. It awakens. The parts of you you were told to hide. The voice you silenced to survive. The love you never gave yourself. It finds those places and says, now. Now is the time. Even the forest understands. When the trees burn and the sky turns to ash, it seems like death. But underneath that char, miracles sleep. Some seeds like eucalyptus will never open without flame. They are designed to awaken only by fire. Without heat, they stay closed forever, but touched by flame, they bloom. Their destiny depends on purification. So does yours. You are not ruined. You are not being punished. You are not behind. You are becoming. This is not destruction. This is birth through flame. You are like the seed, holding your potential tight like a secret until the divine fire cracks you open, so that who you truly are can rise. And this isn't reserved for monks or mystics or saints. The fire moves through the unexpected, the forgotten, the famous. Lady Gaga, yes. The pop icon wrapped in glitter and sound once said in an interview, "Your body knows before your mind does." Pain is the signal. It's asking you to listen. She wasn't speaking from a stage. She was speaking from a wound. And now so are you. And she did. Beneath the spotlight, beneath the applause, beneath the carefully composed public face, there was a woman unraveling not for ruin but for rebirth. The fire came not to destroy her, but to awaken her. Pain became her teacher, and instead of silencing it, she let it sing. She turned agony into song, disillusion into advocacy, heartbreak into communion. Not with fans, but with souls, those who believed they were too broken to be heard. She showed them they weren't alone. The fire didn't lead her back to fame, it led her back to herself. Isn't that what the fire is asking from you now? To stop interpreting the burn as betrayal and begin hearing it as a beckoning. Your body isn't against you, it is calling you. Let it speak. Let it warm the places inside you that have gone cold. Let it melt the armor you forged to protect old wounds. Don't numb it with pills that silence what must be felt. Don't drown it in distraction, in endless scrolling, in shame. Sit in the fire, not because it's easy, but because it's sacred. The chosen are not the ones who avoid the heat. They are the ones who endure it, who allow it to pass through them and purify everything it touches. Isaiah 48:10 tells you plainly, even if no one else ever does, behold, I have refined you, but not as silver. I have tested you in the furnace of affliction. This furnace is not your defeat. It is your delivery room. It is where the old self dies and your true name is forged in flame. So when the heat rises again in your chest, your throat, your spine, your feet do not resist. Don't call it stress. Don't call it sickness. Call it sacred. Pause, welcome it, listen. Let it speak what no other voice can. You are not malfunctioning. You are being recalibrated with holiness. You are not overheating. You are becoming luminous. You are not burning out. You are burning through. And when the night comes and with it, the ache for rest, you may think it's insomnia. You may blame it on too much caffeine, too much worry, too much blue light, but this is not restlessness. This is not your mind keeping you awake. This is your soul refusing to sleep the old way. You collapse into bed, aching for relief. But your spirit hovers half here, half elsewhere. You are no longer resting. You are restructuring. Sleep becomes fragmented, shallow. You wake, not confused, but clear. You look at the clock, 2:33, 3:27, 4:11. Always strange hours, always sacred timing. These are not interruptions. They are activations. Something inside you is shifting, rearranging itself in the silence. And when you rise, You find that answers arrive uninvited. Memories you thought were lost come rushing back, now laced with meaning, not as pain, but as revelation. You realize you are not just losing sleep, you are receiving transmission. This is the hidden work of the third awakening, the most radical threshold your spirit will ever walk through. The first opened your eyes, the second healed your heart, but the third rewires you completely. You are not just releasing what no longer serves. You are becoming the one who can hold God. Your soul is being sculpted to embody the divine more fully, more consciously, and it's happening when the world sleeps. Have you ever wondered why the night feels so holy? Why silence after 2 a.m. hums with something electric? Because it's never truly quiet. Heaven whispers loudest when earth falls still. Job 33:15-16 says, "In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls on people as they slumber in their beds, he may speak in their ears and terrify them with warnings. God doesn't wait for daylight. He moves in the hours others dismiss. What you're feeling is not symbolic. It's not the subconscious throwing images onto the wall of your sleeping mind. This is data transfer. This is sacred software being installed. You are processing not just emotions but timelines, not just memories, but ancestral imprints. You are decoding spiritual blueprints. You are becoming fluent in a language written before your birth. That's why you might wake and remember something from childhood, something that had been silent for decades, now dripping with new truth. You find yourself weeping, but not from grief, from relief, because without effort, you suddenly understand. You see why they hurt you. You see how you carried it. You see how it shaped you and how it no longer needs to. You realize that what you once begged for, an unhealthy relationship, a pattern, a form of approval, no longer lives in your body. There was no war, no fight, just release. The craving is gone. The need has vanished. You didn't overcome it. It simply dissolved. This isn't mental. This isn't logic. This is transfiguration. And yet, paradoxically, it feels more real than anything logic has ever given you. Because it is. Your spirit is now moving faster than your body can track. You wake up lighter, not heavier. Yes, the sleep is broken, but your soul is unbreaking. Piece by quiet piece, from everything that ever bent you out of shape just to survive. Let me tell you about Yolanda, a quiet art teacher in a small town in southern France. She never called herself spiritual, never read a single metaphysical book, but around her 52nd birthday, something began. Every night at 3:13 a.m. without fail, she awoke. At first she was irritated, exhausted. She tried everything: sleep aids, blue light filters, turning off all electronics by 6 p.m. Still, the wake-ups continued, and then, so did something else. She began painting again, but not soft hills or seas or flowers. She painted angels, fire, sacred geometry, symbols she had no name for, but her soul did. Her friends thought she was going mad, but she had never felt more sane or peaceful. She told one of them, "I think God visits me at night, not with words, but with vision. And when I wake, I just paint." Today, Yolanda's art hangs in sacred spaces across Europe. She never trained in that style. It didn't come from a teacher. It came from sleep, or more truthfully, from what God did within her while her body slept. Even history has honored this midnight mystery. Carl Jung, the great voice of the psyche, once said, "Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens." He often described waking in the early hours filled with insight not imagined, but received, as if some deeper movement had occurred beyond his conscious reach. chosen one. You are walking that same path now. But this is not theory. This is transfiguration in real time. You are not being punished. You are not failing. You are transcending the limits of the body. Even nature shows us how this works, the butterfly and the chrysalis, still to the world, but inside complete dissolution, cells rearranging, bones forming, wings folding, a new creature emerging in silence. So yes, to the world you look still. But within, the divine is reworking your entire template, and maybe you've noticed even with little sleep, your mind is clearer. Your emotions don't roar the way they once did. You don't analyze every glance, replay every word. You don't loop yourself into panic or pain. There's a calm you cannot explain, a knowing that doesn't come from thought but from presence. That knowing comes from the higher states of consciousness you're entering during these sacred hours. While your body rests, your soul is rising. Scripture tells us that Solomon offered anything by God in a dream, asked not for riches or power, but for wisdom. Give your servant a discerning heart, he said. And God answered not in the daylight, but in the deep night. 1 Kings chapter 3:5. Do you see God moves most powerfully when the mind is sunt and the spirit is open? So stop resisting the night. It is not your enemy. It is your initiation. You are being entrusted with new instructions. Emotional programming is being rewritten. Your nervous system is being recalibrated to hold more light. The baggage that therapy couldn't reach, the pain no conversation could fully touch, it's being lifted out by the hands of the Creator, working through you in the dimension beyond language. If only you could see what heaven is doing while the world sleeps. Your mind cries out, I just want a full night's rest. But your soul whispers, this is what you prayed for. You asked to awaken. You asked to align. You asked to be used. And this is what it costs. Psalm 127:2 speaks softly. He gives to his beloved even in their sleep. Even when you don't feel rested, you are receiving. Even when you don't dream, you are downloading. Even when you wake sweating, tearful, shaken, you are closer to your divine code. You are not being interrupted. You are being rewired. You are not restless. You are being recalled. So the next time you find yourself awake in the hollow hours of night, don't panic. Don't reach for your phone. Don't curse your body. Be still. Something is speaking, and it has waited a long time for you to be quiet enough to hear. Don't curse the moment. Don't recoil from it. Sit. Breathe. Let it come. Let it speak. This isn't the darkness creeping in. It's the light realigning every fractured edge of your being. It's not here to disturb you. It's here to reconstruct you, so that when the dawn reaches, you don't just wake. You emerge. You might not even call it pain. It's not a scream. It's a whisper, but one so real, so tactile, it interrupts your breath. A tightness across your scalp like an invisible hand, pressing not to wound, but to wake. A gentle tug at the base of your neck, like unseen threads being drawn up your spine. You reach for an answer, but there's no injury, no tension, no strain to blame, and still, there it is again. That ripple, that hum, that pull. No doctor can name it, no scan can show it, but you feel it undeniably, deeply, not imagined, not pathological, sacred. You are not broken, you are being rewired. By the time you, God's chosen one, cross the threshold into the third spiritual awakening, these sensations become familiar, more frequent, more important. Because what's happening in you now isn't physical, it's celestial. Your nervous system, the radiant bridge between spirit and matter, is undergoing divine recalibration. You are not malfunctioning, you are ascending. And ascension doesn't always feel like bliss. Sometimes it feels like pressure, like static behind your eyes. like a vibration in your bones you can't describe. Your body is trying desperately to catch up with what your soul already knows, what your spirit already is. Why now? Because in the first awakening, your eyes opened. In the second, your heart broke open. You cried for no reason. You mourned wounds you didn't know you carried. You released trauma you thought had long since calcified into your personality. And still, that healing lived in the emotional realm in feelings, memories, dreams. But now, in the third awakening, something greater begins. Your soul no longer wishes to hover like a mist around you. It wants to move in, not metaphorically, not symbolically, literally, energetically, cellularly. And for that to happen, your body must become an adequate temple, so the flesh is called into the fire. The vessel is being remade, so when your scalp tightens and your hand reaches up only to find nothing, no dryness, no irritation, it could be this your crown chakra expanding, the portal through which divine wisdom enters your body, mind, and field. Scripture has echoed this truth for centuries. Remember Acts 2:2-3. The apostles in an upper room, waiting. And then a sound like rushing wind filled the space. Tongues of fire rested upon them. Their bodies were not bypassed. They were filled. They were used. That same spirit is now moving through you, not as metaphor, but as manifestation. The tingling in your scalp, the pull along your neck, the vibration in your spine, these are not stress responses. They are alignment events, because the spine, beloved, is not just bone and nerve. It is the highway of light, the sacred staircase where energy flows and consciousness ascends. Each vertebra, each center root to crown houses an aspect of your soul's expression. And now, as your soul descends more fully into your form, those ancient circuits are awakening. The architecture of your inner temple is being lit up like a grid of living fire. Energy begins to travel not sporadically, but purposefully, like electricity flowing through newly installed wires. And the sensations unfamiliar, uncanny are signs of this sacred upgrade. You are no longer holding your light outside yourself. You are anchoring it within. Your field is not just expanding, it is being refined, realigned, rewritten. What you feel is not disturbance, it is design. You are not just ascending, you are inhabiting the divine pattern written into your spine, your breath, your blood. You are becoming the living conduit of sacred intelligence, walking the earth with heaven braided into your marrow. And this is only the beginning. Let me tell you about Marcel, an architect from Lisbon, 47, practical, logical, a builder of things you can touch, measure, trace. He didn't believe in spirit, he believed in structure, until loss came. His mother gone without warning and grief cracked him open, not into pieces but into depth. A door he never knew existed swung wide, and then came the nights. He began waking always in stillness, always with that sensation along his spine. Not pain, not fire, a glow, gentle, warm, pulsing like a current made of honey and stars. At first he thought he was losing his mind, but it kept returning, especially when he heard the music his mother loved, especially when he sat in silence. Eventually, he didn't choose meditation. It chose him. The energy needed space, and he gave it breath. Within a year, Marcel wasn't just designing buildings, he was channeling blueprints from heaven. Sacred geometry poured through his hands. Patterns he didn't learn. They arrived. They spoke. His colleagues noticed the shift. Your work feels alive, they said. When asked what changed, he smiled and whispered, I stopped trying to shape the light. I let the light shape me. He didn't need to explain, because his spirit already knew what language could not contain the body is not a bystander in awakening. It is a sacred co-creator. And beloved, what happened to Marcel is happening to you. These strange pulls, these currents down your spine, the buzzing in your scalp, these are not errors, not medical flukes, not glitches. They are invitations. Your body is no longer reacting, it is partnering with your soul. A union is being formed, a temple is being rebuilt from the inside out. You are changing the way you hold consciousness within your physical form. The Holy Spirit is not circling you, it is entering you, dwelling in the temple being formed in flesh and light. Even those the world called scientists have whispered these truths. Nikola Tesla, engineer, mystic, Vessel once said, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. He knew what sages before him had lived. The spirit and the body are not separate. They are harmonics in a single divine symphony. When one shifts, the other must sing. This is what you are feeling, a sacred retuning. These symptoms tend to concentrate in holy junctions, the scalp, the neck, the spine, the lower back. Why? Because these are where heaven touches earth within you. They are portals, gateways, crossroads where memory, intuition, revelation, and power converge. So when you feel that subtle pull at the base of your skull, it is not discomfort, it is opening. When sudden heat rises along your spine during stillness, it is not coincidence, it is release. Your system is shedding stagnant codes, fear from the past, grief inherited, patterns you didn't choose but carried, and in their place, something higher is taking root. Picture a young tree growing strong but confined to a pot. One day, its roots begin pressing outward, curling tightly, searching for space. The gardener sees. He lifts the tree, reroots it in richer soil, and though the tree is shaken, exposed, stretched, disturbed, it begins again, taller, deeper, wiser. It wasn't broken. It was restricted. It wasn't weak. It was waiting. You too are being replanted. Not because you failed, but because the old container can no longer hold the vastness of who you are becoming. That is what this discomfort is. This is not regression. This is sacred expansion. And as you stretch, you may find the sensations intensify during emotional release. You may feel the current rise during meditation, or as tears come, or as clarity lands in the quiet. Why? Because your thoughts, your emotions, your energy, they are not separate. They are woven. They speak to each other in codes of light. That sudden buzzing behind your eyes when insight dawns, that is not strange. That is alignment. It is your soul and your body saying yes at the same time. You are not imagining this. You are not unstable, you are not broken. You are being lit from within. And every cell in your body is learning how to hold the frequency of your soul's highest truth. This is what it feels like when your biological ceiling begins to crack. When the architecture of who you thought you were can no longer contain the light of who you truly are. You are not breaking down. You are breaking through. The limits of how much light you believed your body could hold, those limits are dissolving now. You are rising into a form your mind never planned for, but your soul has always known. Remember what Jesus said in John 14:12. Very truly I tell you, whoever believes in me will do the works I have been doing, and they will do even greater things than these. Greater doesn't only mean outward miracles, it means inward resurrection. It means becoming a living, Breathing sanctuary where spirit doesn't just visit but dwell. Your body is learning to host the holy. And like any sacred temple, it must be rebuilt, foundations repoured, pillars reset, walls widened to hold glory without shaking. There's a young woman named Amira, a yoga teacher in Morocco. She once told her students, the ache in your back is not a flaw, it's a prayer. She said, your spine is whispering, begging you to sit straighter, breathe deeper, open wider. And whether she knew it or not, she was speaking prophecy. Your body is not resisting you. It is reaching toward your divine purpose. It doesn't want to stay coiled in trauma or compressed by fear. It longs to stretch into glory. So when you feel that subtle tightening in your neck, that electric thread dancing up your spine, that strange halo of tension circling your skull, don't panic. Don't numb it. Don't fix it. Pause. Breathe. Listen. There is ancient wisdom coded in your bones. Your cells still carry the echo of Eden. Your spine remembers the posture of reverence. Your skin remembers what it is to carry light. You are not being harmed. You are being hallowed. You are being stretched into the full shape of your assignment. And perhaps you've noticed something else, something subtle, almost unexplainable. Your appetite is changing, not by willpower, not by trend, but by truth. Food no longer feels like routine. Hunger no longer rings the same bell. You may go hours or an entire day without remembering to eat, because the energy within is so active it sustains you. Or maybe, suddenly, you crave just one thing, one fruit, one herb, one simple dish. Everything else feels too dense, too heavy. Not wrong, but misaligned. This is not deprivation. This is not disorder. This is recalibration. You are learning to feed not only your body, but your becoming. Your physical form is learning a new language. Food is no longer just fuel, it is frequency. What once soothed you now weighs you down. What once felt comforting now feels clouded, because your body is no longer just digesting calories. It is filtering for resonance. Reflect on Matthew 5:6. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. That hunger is not only metaphor, it lives in your belly now. Your solar plexus, the center of will, purpose, and sacred digestion is refining itself to absorb only what aligns with truth. Just as Daniel chose vegetables and water instead of the king's table, not out of restriction, but out of alignment, you are now being led by something ancient, something sacred. You're not counting calories. You're tuning to clarity. Even Christ, before stepping into full purpose, fasted 40 days, not as punishment but as preparation, to clear the channel, to become fully available to divine instruction. Matthew 4:2. So when you crave only a plain bowl of porridge, a cup of barley tea, a handful of fresh mint, this is not emptiness. This is guidance. This is your soul choosing what your stomach never could. Let me tell you about Ayana, an herbalist from a mountain village. For years, she found joy in elaborate meals, spices, flavors, ceremony. But during a deep spiritual unraveling, her palate changed overnight. Nothing satisfied, nothing felt right, until one morning, she brewed mint and barley, nothing more, and wept because it tasted like peace. This is not regression. This is sacred evolution. You are not simplifying. You are purifying. You are not less. You are finally aligned. The doctors found nothing, but Ayana knew. She didn't need tests to validate her knowing, because the knowing was in her bones. Her awakening was not loud. It was lived. And as she followed the quiet promptings, craving less, trusting more, vitality returned, not as adrenaline, but as truth. In her dreams, new herbal remedies came, unfamiliar plants revealed with startling clarity. Her body had become a listening field, and healing poured through it not only for her, but for others. You are entering this same sacred intelligence. You were taught to obey patterns, 3 meals a day, rigid portions, quantities on clocks. But now, you are learning to honor a different rhythm, your body's wisdom. Forcing old habits creates discomfort. Ignoring true signals breeds imbalance. You are not here to replicate a routine. You are here to remember how to listen. Place your hand on your solar plexus, your center of energy, of discernment, of sacred power. Ask it, what does my body truly seek right now, and listen. Not with logic, but with light. What frequency do you crave, not as flavor, but as fuel for your becoming? Spirit will guide you if you let it be louder than cultural expectation. Look to nature. It reflects your evolution with sacred precision. The hummingbird, so small, yet so wise, hovers between blooms, drawn only to those vibrating with real nectar. It bypasses the rest without guilt or confusion, bears fast during hibernation, restoring systems through stillness. Migratory birds gorge before flight, then soar for weeks on stored energy and direction no map can show. You too are being guided by unseen currents, fasting, feasting, not by clock or culture, but by calling. Trust these inner shifts. Serve your unfolding. Even the great spiritual shepherd Pope Francis once said, "We must recover the simplicity of real things, the taste of bread, the warmth of home, the purity of gaze." In quiet reflections, he speaks not of self-denial, but of self-honoring. He eats simply, not to punish the body, but to be present with it. He fasts not only from food, but from excess, noise, and numbness. So too are you being led to simplicity, not as a lack, but as a path to clarity. You may now find yourself waking at odd hours, drawn to sip water or a warm infusion. You may return to sleep lighter, only to awaken again with insight. Or rise at sunrise ravenous for a single piece of fruit that nourishes you completely. Observe without judgment. This is not dysfunction. This is divine resonance. You are syncing with a deeper source of nourishment, drawing energy not just from food, but from breath, light, solitude, and presence. And if loved ones worry, speak gently. I'm in a sacred season. My appetite is evolving. You don't need to convince. You only need to stay true. Honor the care your body needs while also honoring the wisdom that now guides it. This is not rebellion. This is refinement. Consider the fasting of Christ. 40 days in the wilderness, not to escape hunger, but to prepare for holy embodiment. Luke 4:1-2. Or Daniel, who chose simplicity and emerged stronger. Their fasts were not about absence. They were about alignment. And now, yours is too. Not dictated by discipline, but by design. Your body is telling you what it needs, when it needs it, because it is shedding old dependencies. The cravings for comfort, the loops of seeking approval or validation. They are dissolving, making space for something greater, divine autonomy. You are learning to be fed by stillness, by prayer, by light, by truth. And this shift, though unfamiliar, is holy. Let me tell you about Javier, a renowned chef. His life revolved around richness, flavor, indulgence, art. But when the inner fire stirred, everything changed. His palate no longer craved the complex. It sought the clean, vegetable bowls, seasonal produce, unadorned, unpretentious, pure. He feared the loss of creativity, but what came instead was a deeper brilliance. Menus became offerings. Meals became ministry. He cooked with presence, and people felt it. So if you wonder, is this safe? Am I harming myself by eating so little or so differently? Should I force food just to be normal? Here is your answer. Trust your energy. When you honor your true hunger, vitality rises. When fatigue speaks gently, nourish. Let your guidance be a conversation, not a command. This is not a regime. This is a dance. And nature shows you how to move. Think of deciduous trees. They drop their leaves in fall not to die, but to preserve energy for winter and to birth anew in spring. So too, your appetite may withdraw, shift, pause not as retreat but as realignment. You are not starving. You are shedding. You are not weakening. You are preparing. You are not less. You are becoming pure enough to hold light without distortion. Trust every phase. The days of minimal intake, the quiet hunger that is more spiritual than physical. The gentle longing for nourishment that feels alive. These are not interruptions. They are preparations. You are being made ready for new growth, for divine expansion. As the deer pants for streams of water, so my soul pants for you, my God. Psalm 42:1. The deer does not worry about its thirst. It trusts the signal. It drinks when the water appears. So must you, your body, like the deer, speaks when it needs. Whether for food, for breath, or for sacred presence, it knows. Learn its language beyond diet and discipline. Listen with reverence. Notice how scent becomes scripture: fresh basil, lavender, rosemary, fragrances that feel like balm to the spirit. Meanwhile, others repel. These subtle shifts in preference are not random. They are soul signals, your field realigning itself. What once pleased now unsettles. What once comforted now clouds. This is not sensitivity. This is spiritual discernment made physical. Think of the bee in spring. It moves only toward blossoms rich with nectar. It does not waste time. It doesn't second guess. It doesn't force. It knows where the true sweetness lives. So too, your body now seeks only what nourishes in purity. Even your fasting takes on deeper meaning. Is not this the kind of fasting I have chosen? Asks the voice in Isaiah 58, to loose the chains of injustice and to share your bread with the hungry. Your fast is not about control. It is about release. You are letting go of what once bound you. Food becomes both symbol and tool, a reflection of what you are freeing inside. Like Gandhi, whose fasts purified his body and realigned his purpose. Your body now walks in step with your spirit. Your abstinence is not discipline, it is alignment. You eat less not because you must, but because you are full from another source. You are nourished by light, by prayer, by divine communion that has no calories but radiates through your cells. And so your hunger changes not just for food, but for company. Large gatherings feel loud. Excessive feasts feel dissonant. You are drawn instead to still tables, shared with kindred spirits. This is not antisocial, it is energetic integrity. Even your thoughts now hunger for lighter fare. Your mind, like your body, no longer tolerates density. You avoid heavy content. You scroll past chaos. You crave beauty, sacred text, poetic truth, soul food. You are learning that all consumption, whether food, sound, or thought, either nourishes or drains. And so you offer thanks, not as a ritual but as worship. Thank you for guiding me to what feeds the truth of who I am becoming. Thank you for teaching my body what my mind forgot. Thank you for making this meal a prayer. In this way, each bite becomes a sacrament. Even a bowl of soup becomes a temple. You light a candle, You chew with reverence. You taste with presence. You are not just feeding your body, you are inviting the divine to dwell within it. Remember Paul's guidance in 1 Corinthians 6:19-20. Do you not know your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit? Your temple now demands purity. Not out of fear, but out of reverence for the light that now lives there. Be mindful of extremes. This journey is not about starvation, nor is it about indulgence. It is about sacred listening. Eat when your body whispers yes. Rest when it signals pause. Seek counsel from those who understand spiritual embodiment. But above all, trust your own frequency. Even public voices bear witness to this. Oprah has spoken of how food, for her, became less about emotion and more about intuition. She said, "I trust my body's wisdom. That wisdom lives in you too. You are learning to trust your hunger not just as a signal of lack, but as a compass toward truth. You are shifting from distracted consumption to embodied presence. And in this presence, you realize you are not hungry in the same way because you are not the same person. Your body no longer runs on the past. It is self-selecting what matches your emerging essence. You are being fed now by frequencies that were once invisible to you. Every cell is tuning to the eternal. Every moment of nourishment is part of your resurrection. And then, one morning you glance into the mirror, expecting the usual, the same familiar gaze, the same contours. But something catches, something subtle, something sacred. Your eyes different, not in shape, but in weight, in presence. There's a faint puffiness beneath the lids, a pressure behind the temple. Not pain, not illness, but a sense like someone is standing just behind your skin looking out with you. Your eyes feel full, but not with tears, not with emotion, with presence. Even after a full night's rest, they feel heavy, not with fatigue, but with knowing. You touch your face, you blink slowly, you realize the old gaze has softened. Something ancient is watching through your eyes now. You are not looking at yourself, you are witnessing yourself becoming. This is not cosmetic. This is cosmic. Your face is holding the vibration of light, and the world is beginning to feel it before you speak, before you act. Your frequency has changed, and so has your reflection. Something inside you knows this is not nothing, and it's certainly not random. It's not just a tired face or a trace of stress. No, this is a message written into your reflection. Your face is trying to tell you something your mind hasn't caught up with yet. Because for those marked by God, for those walking the narrow path of awakening, these seemingly small physical changes often signal the threshold of something far greater. You are entering a deeper phase now, the third awakening, the most embodied, the most powerful. Unlike the first, which stirs intuition, or the second, which births discernment, this one does not whisper. It resonates. It moves through your nervous system like divine electricity. It hums in the marrow. It lives in the skin, and the first place it shows itself is the eyes. Why the eyes? Because they are the gate between what is perceived and what is believed. Because they don't just take in the world, they interpret it. They translate light into truth, vision into knowing. That's why Ephesians 1:18 says, I pray that the eyes of your heart may be enlightened, in order that you may know the hope to which he has called you. When the Spirit calls you higher, the eyes often respond first, not by seeing more, but by preparing to carry light the world cannot recognize. This is not metaphor. It is biological prophecy, deep in your brain. Two ancient glands begin to awaken together, the pineal and the pituitary. One governs spiritual vision, the other, bodily rhythm. Together, they calibrate perception at every level beyond what the mind understands. When they begin to synchronize, the sensitive tissue around your eyes responds, not in pain but in preparation. You feel it, a heaviness behind the brow, a soft pressure near the temples, the urge to blink slowly, an aversion to artificial light, a craving for silence, even in the presence of sound. This is not hypersensitivity. This is refinement. You are not weakening. You are tuning. This is what happened in 2 Kings 6:17 when Elisha prayed for his servant's eyes to be opened. At first, the young man only saw the enemy army threat, danger, fear, but Elisha saw more. He prayed, "Open his eyes, Lord, that he may see." And the Lord opened them, and he saw horses and chariots of fire on the hills. The world didn't change, the vision did. That's what's happening to you. You are not hallucinating, you are perceiving. And with that perception comes pressure, because your habits of sight, logical, linear, physical, can no longer contain the truth now streaming through you. You feel energy when others speak. You sense deception without explanation. You can feel the temperature of a room shift before anyone else notices. This can feel isolating, but it is sacred. Let me tell you about Matteo, a young painter from Florence, technically flawless, skilled in every sense. But something in his work felt empty. It didn't move people. Then came silence, a season of stillness. He stopped painting, and during that time, his eyes began to change. Puffiness, pressure, tension that had no medical name, and then color began to move differently. Patterns emerged. His vision sharpened not outwardly, but inwardly. When he picked up his brush again, people wept. Not because of what they saw, but because of what they felt. He had stopped painting what was visible. He began painting what was true. This is the invitation now opening in your eyes. You are not losing focus. You are gaining sacred sight. Even Pope John Paul II once said, "The eyes are the mirror of the soul. They reflect what is hidden. And like a mirror, they reflect not only you, but the one who is looking into them." That's what's happening now. Your eyes no longer reflect just the physical. They echo the eternal. And if you need one more mirror, turn to nature, God's first cathedral. The dragonfly begins life underwater, blind, crawling in the dark. It doesn't even know the sky exists. And yet, one day it climbs a reed, bursts from its case, emerges into air, and for the first time flies. Not only that, it sees through compound eyes, 30,000 lenses, perceiving movement, light, vibration in ways it never could beneath the surface. That's you. You are coming out of water. You are entering air. You are no longer crawling. You are rising into vision. And yes, it may feel lonely. Others may not see the shift. Or worse, they may dismiss it. But remember the words of Jesus in John 14:17. The Spirit of truth. The world cannot accept him, because it neither sees him nor knows him, but you know him, for he lives with you and will be in you. You are not crazy. You are becoming clear. You are consecrated. You are not drifting. You are being drawn. This isn't a detour. It's a doorway. You are walking through something eternal, and there is no turning back, only deepening, only remembering. Let me share one more story. Her name is Amara, a 57-year-old nurse from Lagos. For decades, she worked in ICU wards. She held hands as heartbeats faded. She witnessed life and death exchange places in the same hour. But it wasn't until last year that the awakening began. It started subtly. A heaviness behind her eyes, not exhaustion, an invitation. At the same time, she began knowing things no chart could show. She would enter a room and feel who was ready to cross over, not by signs, not by vitals, by spirit. Her eyes no longer saw time linearly. She began to feel time as sacred architecture, layered, woven, shimmering. Now, Amara still uses medicine, but her true gift is perception. She walks in both realms. She sees what others miss, because her vision no longer serves only the physical. It ministers, and now so does yours. This journey is not a curiosity, it's a consecration. You were not wandering into this. You were chosen for it. Even Jesus, the healer of sight, understood the layers. In Mark chapter 8, 23-25, he lays hands on the blind man, once, then again. First, the man sees vaguely people like trees walking. Then the second time, clarity. Why 2 steps? Because spiritual sight is progressive. It matures. It deepens. It adjusts. Just like you. That puffiness around your eyes, that tension in your brow, that change in your comfort with light, sound, space. These are not cosmetic. They are catalytic. You are in the chrysalis. Your spiritual vision is not only opening, it's reconfiguring how you understand reality itself. So if your eyes feel tired but your spirit feels alive, lean in. If silence feels safer than noise, stay there. If something is stirring behind your gaze, trust it. This is your third eye awakening, not as trend or metaphor, but as a recalibration of how you receive divine information. You're not imagining things. You're perceiving more. And your face quietly, faithfully, is announcing to the world, I have begun to see differently. Not because you chased it, but because you were called into it. So if you've been feeling that gentle, persistent shift, too quiet to explain, too real to dismiss, trust it. What you're experiencing isn't random. It's not fleeting. It's not decoration. It is divine realignment. Your old self wasn't built to receive this frequency, but the new self, the one now rising within, was born for it. The world may still see the same eyes, but you know something behind those eyes has changed, and that change is not coincidence. It is covenant for God's chosen ones. The third awakening isn't just mystical, it is missional. It's when your sight gets called up to meet your assignment. Your eyes, once passive windows, are becoming sacred instruments. You are not just seeing what is, you are discerning what should be. You are not just witnesses. You are architects of light. That's why the pressure. That's why the eye strain. That's why bright spaces feel like chaos and silence feels like oxygen. Your body is obeying your spirit now, and your spirit is leading. Can you feel the commission rising? You were never made to live numb. You were never made to live blind in a world bursting with spirit. You were made to see, to perceive with divine precision in a distracted age. To walk with truth that goes deeper than words, to carry a frequency that makes heaven recognizable on earth. This shift in your vision, subtle, sacred, persistent. It is your soul's announcement. Heaven is preparing you. Heaven is activating you. And the world won't always recognize it, because they aren't supposed to yet. The revelation isn't happening around you. It's happening within you. This is why God moves in layers, like morning light spilling slowly through a window. Not sudden, but certain. You may not understand every symptom. You may not explain every feeling, But you are held. You are centered in his design, just like Elisha's servant. When the veil lifted, he saw the hills not empty but ablaze with angelic fire. Your eyes are not broken. They are being broadened. What felt like pressure was always preparation. What seemed like burden is becoming your blessing. And now, if this message resonated deeply, if something within you whispered, "Yes, this is me. This is what I've been carrying without language," then don't hide it. Bring it into the light. When the Spirit confirms truth within you, it is not to be buried, it is to be breathed. If you feel seen, acknowledge it. If your spirit feels stirred, share this with someone whose soul may also be awakening in quiet ways they don't yet understand. This space is not just content, it is consecrated connection. This is where the veil is thinner. Here, we don't just exchange information, we walk in revelation. So speak in the comments, testify, witness. Let your voice become a mirror for someone else's rising clarity. What is shifting in your spirit? What is awakening in your body? What has changed behind your eyes? This is no longer about gaining knowledge. This is about walking into alignment together. If you haven't already, subscribe not just to a channel, but to a frequency. This space is an altar. Every message, every word, every silence between them has been crafted to awaken, restore, clarify. You are not just consuming light, you are becoming it. You are not alone. You are part of a remnant, God's chosen ones, stepping out of confusion and into clear sight. Together we rise, not in chaos, but in conviction. And to those who have supported this work through your giving, sharing, prayer, or silent return, thank you. You may not always feel seen, but heaven sees, and heaven does not waste seeds. Your presence here is a seed, and God waters every one. So now, as you go from this moment, receive this. I bless your eyes. I bless the space between what you see and what you sense. I bless your ability to perceive not just reality, but what is holy within it. May your vision be bathed in clarity, not shadowed by fear. May your gaze pierce through illusion, not with judgment, but with love. May your physical eyes rest, and your spiritual sight sharpen. May your nights be filled with whispers from heaven, and your days with nudges from spirit. May the veil grow thinner each time you blink. May your intuition become your native language. May your peace become your compass. May you wake each morning with the sacred knowing, I am not who I was yesterday, because something inside me is being resurrected. Daily, quietly, unstoppably. Let your eyes reflect truth. Let your gaze heal. Let your presence carry the fire of clarity. You are now able to see. And when the world asks what's changed about you, you won't need to explain, because your life will speak. Your vision will testify. Your face will shine. You are being prepared for a sight that doesn't just notice beauty, but activates destiny. The kind of clarity that shifts generations, the kind of seeing that awakens others to see too. And it all begins here with this moment, this message, this sacred shift behind your eyes. Until next time, stay alert in the spirit, stay rooted in the word, stay soft in the heart. You are chosen, you are awakening, and you are never alone. Amen.